Hey, YouTube world, it's been like over a week since I made a video, and that's because my last video, which was a Madden game, was a really good video. I mean, it was an awesome Madden game, so I want to give people time to watch that. Anyways, though, so now, I, you know, I guess I'll talk about the NBA in general. Even though I haven't been watching, I watched the second half from the third quarter on of the game one between between the Celtics and Cavaliers, and of course I've watched all the Rockets games. And on the Cavs and Celtics, man, I hope you young NBA fans that all you've ever seen are the Cavs going to the finals and Golden State winning it are watching this, because I pick teams. Yeah, because let me just say this, you never know who's going to win a series or win a game. I picked the Eagles to win the Super Bowl. And, I'm sure all the young kids that all they've ever seen of the Patriots winning it laughed me to scorn. Eagles, they didn't have no superstars on their team like the Patriots. But it's the same thing in basketball. In the 80s, the Rockets had a team, and they made the playoffs under 500. They were under 500. With an under 500 record, they made the playoffs. And all of a sudden, they found themselves playing in the finals. They mowed everybody down. Guys that aren't very good have a tendency sometimes to get hot and play good and become good. So just because one team isn't as good as another team doesn't mean that they're not going to start playing that way when a series starts. You see what I'm saying? Look at Boston. Kyrie Irving is injured. But these guys, these young guys are stepping up. They're turning their game up. You know what I'm saying? Just because you weren't good before doesn't mean you can't turn your game up. And so they're beating the Cavs, and here we have, the Rockets won one at home, but, I consider that awesome because the Warriors beat them the first game, and you listen to Charles Barkley and stuff, and they go to making fun of the Rockets. Oh, Rockets can't win nothing. And these guys are supposed to be experts. I mean, how can you not be expert? You watch tons of NBA games because you're commentating them. But sometimes those guys are wrong. And they asked Charles Barkley, so now where do you think, how many games you think Golden State's going to beat Houston after they beat them, after Golden State beat them? And he said 3. We're not even going to win a single game. And then we go back and we not only beat them, we blow them out by 25 points. Now Golden State, on their 2 losses, I think they lost by quite a bit. One, they lost by 13 or something like that. They got beat by quite a bit. But I'm telling you, no, Houston might step up and win this series, or do a lot better than you think. They could win this series. Anybody could win it. You never know what's going to happen. For one, injuries could happen. Durant could go down, and Curry, and Clay. Or maybe just Durant and Curry. That would be enough for Houston to win. Durant has been the pillar, the cornerstone of the Warriors beating the Rockets. And that's what they said before the series. Who's going to stop Durant? Well, they won the first game because I think one of the main reasons is because Rockets don't have a lot of tall players. We only have a few guys tall enough to guard Durant, and Ariza is one of them. Ariza got like 3-4 fouls in the first quarter. He had 5 fouls like before halftime. And so after halftime is when they started gaining, when Ariza was out of the game. Ariza is the only guy tall enough and thin enough to guard Durant. Then we had Chris Paul on Durant, all these little guys on Durant, and he was just taking them to school. So the second game, Ariza doesn't get in foul trouble. And, he's putting it to Durant. Now, Durant still made the same amount, but some of those plays, Durant passed it off instead of taking Ariza one-on-one because he knew Ariza's a defensive specialist, and hey, he's 6'7", and he's skinny as a toothpick. or he's very thin like Durant, so he can get up with him. So he, instead of dealing with that, he passed the ball off. He didn't take as many shots in the second game. So that really, in my opinion, helped the Rockets win. So they had to start relying on Curry. And Curry wasn't that hot. He was missing shots and stuff like that. And with a shot blocker like Capella in the middle, it's hard for a guy like Curry to go in there and shoot. It's hard for anybody to shoot. I mean, even a 7'2" guy or 7'1" guy like Rudy Gobert, 7'2" with a 7'9" wingspan, he couldn't do anything on Capella because every time he would try to shoot, Capella would block his shot. Capella's only 6'11", but he can jump out of the building. So Capella is like the best shot blocker in the league almost. And so that really plays a big factor in the Rockets, and really always has ever since we've had him. Since we've had Capella, we've done better. The last 2 seasons, we've really done better than we did before when we had McHale, because we got Capella in the middle. So anyways, though, I think the Rockets can steal one in Golden State. I think if they do it, I don't think it'll be the first game. I think it'll be the second game, because I think they'll have to get used to that atmosphere. But why do I think that? Because I think the Rockets are just a good enough team to do it. I wouldn't pick any other team in the league to do it. Maybe the Cavaliers, but other than that, I think the Rockets can steal one in Golden State. I don't know who's going to win the series. I guess I would have to lean towards Golden State, but Rockets won 65 games, and you can't. Harden was injured for weeks, months this year, and so was Chris Paul. It's not like we didn't have injuries. That's why we have such a good record. We were just as injured as Golden State, and when Harden gets injured, it's a bigger blow than Curry getting injured, because Harden is like one of our only 2 superstars. We rely on 2 guys. They rely on 4, so it's not that big a deal if one of them goes down. And plus, Harden plays better than Curry now. Harden's an MVP candidate. Curry is not. So, that's my opinion. And anyways, though, so we had to go weeks with Harden injured. Many a game. Our top two players were injured a lot this year. And that's one thing that Houston has that's better than, I think, Golden State is depth. I mean, you can argue both ways, but Houston has a lot of guys. We got Eric Gordon, so we can play a more aggressive defense because we're not so worried about one guy getting in foul trouble, because we've got another guy right there on the bench who's almost just as good who can come in. I mean, let's face it, Gordon is as good as the best player on the team. The only player that we have that Gordon might not be as good as sometimes is Harden. We got Nene, dude. Nene, last year, he was playing better than Capella. We got Ryan Anderson. He was a starter. I think he was one of the better players in the league. On the bench for us, so we can put him in, we got Gerald Green popping 3-pointers, I know I'm talking a lot about the Rockets because I know about them. I'm not saying they're going to win the series, but I hope this is a very interesting series, and I think it's a series that Houston definitely can win. You can leave your comments. I know a lot of you don't think Houston has a snowball's chance in hell, but I think they do. There you go. Thank you very much.